my union is not affiliated to any political party. We try to develop strong links with all legitimate political parties. I exclude the BNP in that regard. And I don't really think there's any evidence that members of my union vote in disproportionate way towards Labour. We actually had probably a better relationship with the Labour government than many of the unions that are affiliated to the Labour Party, which is a bit odd. But part of that is because we try to develop good relationships with all employers, and the government for us is an employer of significant numbers of people. And also we share with ATL and NASUWT a belief in the power of rational thought. I don't want to be rude, particularly about any of my other trade union colleagues, but that wasn't always evident last week in Manchester. And one of the issues in relation to social partnership and whether the coalition can build on social partnership is, you know, frankly, it takes two to tango. It takes a coalition to want to do it, and it takes the partners to want to do it. And absolutely, some unions don't want to do it. They didn't want to do it with the Labour government, and they sure as hell aren't going to want to do it with a coalition. For us, we're perhaps less sure of the industrial might of our members. That's not to say that we don't have any power, but my sense is when they use that power, it's mostly air traffic controllers, for example, and people in the national grid and so on and so forth, about their immediate industrial objectives rather than what they would perhaps see as a more political basis. So it isn't everybody that wants to do it on either side. For us, we do, because we believe it's a better way. We actually have written into our rules as a union and constitution one of our principal rules that we want to work for the furtherance of employment areas where we've got members, and we try to make that a practical reality. In the public sector, in the civil service, it is difficult. It's perhaps not quite as bleak as Mary was outlining. In education, we formed a reasonable relationship with Francis Maud, who's the Minister for the Cabinet Office, who's one of our employers, and so you know, I would say on issues like access, communications, that works not too badly. He's my new best friend. In fact, sometimes think he's my only friend, but we do. Thank you for the reassurance. But we do have good levels of communication. But the truth is that there's a feeling amongst our members in the civil service that on a whole range of things, the employer is coming down the track at us. Not only have we got the superannuation bill, which is in front of the House of Commons at the moment, which severely limits access to redundancy terms. This is at a time when we're talking about 20, 30, 40% of civil servants losing their jobs. So just at the time when civil servants might have thought, well, perhaps I'm not paid very much, but at least I've got decent redundancy terms and job security. But just at the time when that's being undermined, when we're talking about whole swathes, and you know, some do appreciate that not everybody in government announces cuts with a feeling that this is what they want to do, not this is what they've got to do, but there's a feeling that, well, bureaucrats will hack away at them. By the way, you know, our members do a lot of things which are directly a benefit to the public and couldn't be described as that. They're in danger not only of losing their jobs, but of direct measures in front of Parliament to slash away in a way which may be illegal at the redundancy terms. And by the way, there's a 2-year pay freeze, and by the way, the next thing on the agenda is your pensions. So, you know, you can forgive against that background certain absence of warmth and feeling in the relationship. What should happen to address it? Well, again, there are a number of ministers that have talked about engagement, and in Francis Maud's case, practiced it. But again, it should be about something more than giving us 24 hours notice of what they've already decided to do. Yeah. We've got to build some trust. Frankly, it didn't help last week when the TUC General Counsel, with Mary and I, agreeing with this line, decided, if you don't mind me saying so, decided that we would invite Vince Cable to the TUC Congress, and then some of them unions got cold feet on the basis of, well, what was announced in the budget was a shock. You know, government to reduce deficit shock. Don't think so. But they decided to uninvite him, or that a better way of engagement might be to meet the General Council. I'm sure Vince was heartbroken at the prospect of not going to Manchester next week. But it isn't a good thing. It isn't a helpful thing. So, frankly, those of us who believe in partnership, those of us who believe working together to solve the problems of the country, solve the problems, the issues facing members, address difficult, really difficult problems for the future, working together is the way to do it, which we do. We've got our work cut out to try to deliver. Well, it's a challenge on both sides.